River management. Costs and benefits of hard engineering. River management is needed to prevent a flood or control the natural processes taking place in a river channel. Rivers can be managed using hard or soft engineering techniques, which have distinct differences. River management schemes are often expensive, so stopping flooding on every river isn't possible or necessary. Local agencies, such as the council, must look at the costs and benefits or advantages and disadvantages of each strategy for each area and weigh them up to consider which areas to protect. Typically, towns and cities are protected, whilst rural areas and farmland tend not to be. Hard engineering uses artificial man-made structures to reduce the risk of flooding. This dam in the Elan Valley in Wales is an example of a hard engineering method. Let's explore the costs and benefits of the main hard engineering methods used on rivers around the UK. These include dams and reservoirs, flood relief channels, embankments, and channel straightening. We'll start by looking at dams and reservoirs. Dams are large concrete walls built across rivers to control water flow. Water is stored behind the dam in a reservoir. They are a popular river management strategy across the world because of their many benefits. For example, dams are very effective at reducing the risk of flooding, as they regulate and control the river flow. They also have several functions besides flood prevention. They can provide hydroelectric power from turbines built into the dam. They are also an excellent source of fresh water for homes or irrigation purposes on farms. Reservoirs can also be used for recreational purposes, such as fishing. However, there are a number of costs or disadvantages to dams, meaning they are often controversial projects. They require a large amount of land to be flooded for the reservoir. This often includes farmland and can require people to be moved from their homes. Dams are also very expensive to build and maintain. For example, Kielder Water Dam in Northumberland cost £167 million to build in the 1980s. There are also environmental costs, which include the damage to habitats and fish breeding grounds. A flood relief channel is a man-made river channel constructed to divert water from the main river to increase capacity. Flood relief channels have a number of benefits. They are effective at drawing water away from a densely populated area vulnerable to flooding. The flood relief channels, such as the Jubilee River, shown here, are usually designed to blend into their natural environment. Flood relief channels can also be used for recreational purposes, which is a social benefit to local people and visitors. However, there are costs. They are a very expensive solution to flooding. For example, the Jubilee River cost £330 million to build. Flooding is more likely downstream of a flood relief channel, as has been found at towns and villages downstream of the Jubilee River. The concrete weirs, shown here, are built to control the flow of water, but can be an eyesore, and algae can also build up, reducing the oxygen levels in the water and damaging habitats. Embankments are man-made raised riverbanks designed to increase river capacity, such as the one shown here on the River Ouse. They have a range of benefits. They effectively increase a river's capacity, significantly reducing the risk of flooding. More recently, sustainable embankments have been built, using natural materials, dredged or dug up from the riverbed. This makes them blend in to their surrounding environment. The costs of embankments depends on how they're built. Traditionally, embankments were often made with concrete, such as these ones in York, which are unnatural and could be considered an eyesore. Flooding can be made worse downstream, as capacity has been increased in the protected area, which then transports higher levels of discharge downstream, where capacity is much lower. They can also damage habitats. Channel straightening involves cutting through meanders to create a straight channel to speed up the flow of water along the river. The main benefits are that they are effective at speeding up the flow of water, preventing flooding in vulnerable areas. Some channels are also lined with concrete, which prevents a collapse of the bed and banks, which can fall into the river and reduce its capacity, increasing the risk of flooding. A good example of a straightened section is this one along the River Cuckmere in southern England, which shows how large meanders can be cut off to speed up the flow of water. The costs of channel straightening are that flooding may be made worse downstream as the water reaches that area more quickly. Concrete channels can also be an eyesore and look unnatural. This river in Kent is a good example. They can also damage habitats. Summary: all hard engineering strategies designed to reduce the risks of river floods have advantages and disadvantages, or costs and benefits. Local councils and water companies are responsible for deciding on which strategies to use and where. Larger settlements are often protected to prevent the flooding of businesses and homes. The main strategies used around the UK include dams and reservoirs, channel straightening, flood relief channels, and embankments. Many of the strategies used are expensive and can damage habitats despite reducing flooding. Keywords: dam, a wall built across a river to control water flow downstream. Reservoir, a flooded area which stores water behind a dam. Hydroelectric power, renewable energy generated from a turbine in a dam. Flood relief channel, an additional river channel constructed to divert water away from the main channel in periods of high flow. Embankment, man-made raised riverbanks, usually made from concrete or dredged sediment from the riverbed.